it hurts me to think that by putting people on the court who have these dire situations in their past, that it would lower the legitimacy and the confidence that the people have in the court.
I'm Bridget Curley, WUVA News. We're about to speak with Barbara Perry, the Director of Presidential Studies at the university's Miller Center. Did you find Dr. Ford credible as a witness, and did you think that her testimony really made an impact on the senators?
I did find her credible. It's hard to listen to someone who clearly had emotion but was controlling her emotions. She's obviously a very bright person with her PhD and able to describe her feelings both as a human in very human terms, but also to describe the science of why she remembered certain things about the assault and why she didn't. And I thought that one of the senators put it so well. I think it was Senator Leahy from Vermont, who said, notice that when someone's a victim of violence, he or she will not have a perfect story, but oftentimes someone who's lying about a story will have a perfect rendition of it. There will be no gaps, whereas the survivor of trauma will have gaps in that story. And that's the distinction, as it seemed to me.
Do you think that there could be a backlash among female voters if Kavanaugh is confirmed?
I do see a backlash occurring among women voters. I think that just the hearing alone, the charges against Judge Kavanaugh, how he behaved towards some of the women on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and men for that matter, I could see that this could be a similar kind of backlash that we saw in the early 1990s after the Clarence Thomas hearing. I could see not only an equal kind of backlash, but an even greater backlash that could cause a tsunami perhaps to happen in the midterms as related to who will control the House and maybe even the Senate.
Do you think that having two justices on the bench that have these sorts of allegations against them sets a kind of tone for the country?
I do, and I think it's a really bad tone that would be set. Usually those nominees come across very well. They're bright, they're intelligent, they're geniuses in many cases. They're pioneers in the case of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They're heroic people, and that has defined most of the members of the court over the years. There have been well over 100 of them. And so that's what makes the court above the fray of politics typically. I do think the legitimacy of the court is under threat. What hurts me as a scholar of the court, as someone who loves it as an institution, as an American, someone who had the privilege of serving at the court in the mid-1990s and taking people from around the world who would come to learn about it. These were dignitaries ranging from judges from outer Mongolia to legislators from the old Soviet Union to Latin American judges, and they would all say, this is the jewel in the crown of your system, and how do you keep it that way? How did you get it to this point? Why do people respect it? They'd say, judges in our country are corrupt and no one trusts them. And I want our judges to stay the way they have been for all of these years, which is usually above corruption and smart and capable and judicious. What we saw from Judge Kavanaugh in his outbursts at the hearings after Dr. Ford spoke was someone who was not acting in a very judicious manner, and we call that not having judicial temperament.